Early voting has begun in the US presidential election. Many states are seeing long lines of people waiting to cast their ballots. The USA may be seen as a beacon of democracy in the world, but you still have to wait for several hours to vote in some parts of the country. And in the state of Georgia, some voters had to wait in line for 11 hours earlier this week. Voters in Texas also reporting long waiting times. Let's talk now to Matt Stevens, who joins us now from Atlanta in Georgia. Matt, you've cast your vote already. What was the experience like?
Well, I actually had to wait 5 hours, just over 5 hours, to cast my vote. The mood overall was pretty friendly. Everybody was talking with each other. We had folding chairs, but it was definitely not an experience that I want to repeat just for simply the amount of time that I had to wait to vote, and then the actual process of going through it was, although that part was pretty simple, it was waiting to actually get into the polling place and going through that. There were about 300 people in line ahead of me.
I mean, 5 hours is such a long time, Matt. Have you ever had to wait that long before?
Never, never. I had heard horror stories from different parts of Georgia about long voting times and long wait times. But myself, I had never experienced anything more than maybe 2 hours in past presidential elections, I believe, when President Obama was on the ballot some years ago.
Is this going to deter some people? I mean, did you see anyone just get up and leave?
You know, I did actually see that, but they were actually leaving to go to other polling places in the county that may have had what they thought to be a shorter waiting time. So you did see a little bit of that, but the spirit of the people that were there, and of course with myself, they were very determined to vote. And so I think anybody that comes out to vote on the first day of early voting is that type of voter that's not going to be deterred very easily by a long line or any other rain or inclement weather that may be happening.
So, Matt, what would you say to some people online who are saying, look, in a way, this is a form of voter suppression, making people stand in line for 11 hours. Sometimes they might not have anything to eat or drink or be able to use facilities.
Well, I actually do agree with them. I'd agree that that is a voter suppression tactic. And, you know, voter suppression takes on different forms. It can be very overt, as in you get to the polling place and you're not even listed as a registered voter. Or in this case, it can be very subtle, where they will understaff the polling facility, or they may have too few voting machines like they did at my place. You know, there were probably over 500 voters that day with only 14 machines. And so, yeah, I definitely believe it was voter suppression. And it was something that it was shocking in 2020, especially with this push to register voters, that this is still happening in the state of Georgia.
Do you think it makes a sort of mockery of that claim that America is the greatest democracy in the world?
It does, because I think, you know, we have such a strong push to register voters here, and we set ourselves out as a beacon of democracy, a beacon of hope in the world. And in some respects we are, but at the same time is when you can't get the simple things right, it really makes you question and wonder, what are we doing wrong and who's causing this? Because this isn't something that's just happening. This is by design, and there are some forces at work that we may or may not know about that may be causing these long lines and all of these voter intimidation tactics, as I like to call them.
Matt, really great to talk to you. Congratulations for actually casting your vote. It is a
Thank
privilege.
you so much.
And
Thank
really
you so
lovely to
much.
get your thoughts.